Hello, this is Irene once again from Radley Kitchen, continuing our Cooking for One series. I am on day 6, at the end of day 6 of my 11-day master cleanse, and so I am still cooking for only my son, Otto. Tonight I'm going to show you kind of an elevated version of ramen noodles, which is great for these cold evenings, and it's made out of staples that we have here in the kitchen all the time. So the ingredients are, we have your miso. We always have a tub of miso in our fridge because it's great not just for this soup, but also for marinating fish. And it's super healthy for you. I have these organic soba noodles all the time as well in my pantry because these cook so quickly, just like your traditional ramen noodles, but they feel a little bit more whole. And today, because Otto didn't finish his seaweed snacks, I'm going to use this in the soup along with, so we'll have two kinds of seaweed. We'll have this, and we'll have the wakame, which is also another thing that I like to have in my pantry, just because I like to add that in other stews and especially this soup. And then, of course, I try to get in as much greens as I can. So I'm gonna put a little bit of spinach in there. So we're gonna start first. I don't normally measure, as you already know, but for today, since you guys are with me, I'm gonna measure. So I am thinking maybe it's 2 cups of water to boil, because you know the noodles and everything are gonna absorb it, and we want to have a good amount of noodles in there. I mean a good amount of broth in there, because Otto loves broth. So I'm going to do this, maybe 2.5 cups. So 2.5 cups of water. And then we're going to boil this. Like so. The thing with miso is that you don't want to cook miso. You just want to add it to boiling water, or not boiling water, I'm sorry. You want to add it to hot water. So since I have this cup, I'm going to wash my spinach here in my spring water. I don't like to wash vegetables in tap water just because it's not purified, and I feel like our food absorbs all of that. So wash your spinach like so, and then this is really easy. If I'm not talking, this will take me about 5 minutes to prepare. So I'm gonna do that. We're gonna cut this. Make that up. And then, just gonna, obviously the spinach will melt even further, so they'll never know that there's spinach in there. I just think it's one of the other greens that are gonna be in there, okay? And then, we're just going to wait for the water to boil. And of course, I won't let you stay for that one. So I'm just gonna pause this real quick, and then we'll be back. So we're back. You know that saying that a watched pot never boils, where I literally watched over that pot boiling, and it's eventually boiling right now. Another ingredient that I didn't mention before is a staple in the Radley household, toasted sesame oil. It's so yummy. I love it in stir fries, just in stews, just to kind of elevate and brighten up certain dishes. So I put this in the water because when you put oil in the water, its high conductivity helps the water boil. Also, salt water boils faster, so just a little bit of salt in there as well. So these noodles come in these handy dandy little packets right here, little groupings, bunches, if you may. So this is, I have found, a good serving for one person. So we're gonna put this in the pot. So there it is. That should take no more than 3 minutes to cook. Now, while that's cooking, we're gonna cut our little seaweed, dried seaweed, so that we can add it into the miso soup in the end. So, you know, when these get exposed to the air, they get really chewy, so they're not really that great to snack on anymore. So it's good to just add them as a dressing to your soup. So that's a lot of seaweed right there. It's good. So now let's check on our noodles. One more minute and we'll be right back. Okay, so our noodles are kind of almost done, but we don't want it completely done because we're going to add some more stuff to it. So I'm going to turn off the heat. And it's still going to cook. So we're going to add the rest of our stuff. So we're going to add the miso now. For that much water, I would say I'm going to add maybe a teaspoon of miso. A small teaspoon. Like this. Teeny tiny teaspoon. Teaspoon of miso. And this will be your flavoring. Instead of those high sodium packets, I mean, there's definitely sodium in miso as well, but it's healthy sodium. Do this. Stir it up, stir it up, stir it up. You want to dissolve the miso so that you don't get a lump of paste in your mouth when you're eating it. So that's good. It's all dissolved. Now we are going to put our seaweed, the wakame, and the other seaweed, the seaweed snack. Seaweed is so good. So good for you. High in iron, and also iodine as well. It's a really good source of iodine. So here, seaweed in there, and the other seaweed, and these are going to rehydrate. So your miso is actually going to have a lot of greens in it. And then you're going to melt your spinach. So I'm gonna stir it up, but I'm gonna bring you guys over there, over the pot, so you can see what's going on. Okay, welcome to the stovetop. So now we've added everything in there. As you can see, it's all coming together in this soup. It's miso based. It's jam-packed with greens. If you have any sort of protein, you can also add it in. You can also add in some other flavors. I like to add a little bit of sea salt in there just to kind of elevate it just a little tiny bit, because we are packing it with other stuff, just like to kind of garnish the top. Then also another hack that I found is to add some frozen corn to soup after you've bowled it for a little kid to kind of cool it off. So let's plate this. Super easy. And it's an elevated version of your traditional ramen noodles. You know, there might be leftovers which you can reconstitute the next day into just regular noodles. You can add some other stuff in. But, so, we're gonna use ladle to ladle out the broth. Again, if you want, you can put more miso in there. Right. So now we're gonna cool it down with some corn, some frozen corn. Also put frozen peas. It's a really good way to cool off a kid's soup. Cool it down so the hot broth will cook the corn, and then also bring down the temperature of the broth so that your kid doesn't burn his tongue. Right there. To garnish, again, I like to put a little tiny bit of Celtic sea salt on top, and also some ginger, just a tiny bit. Give it that little gingery taste. Okay, this is your elevated ramen. I hope that this can warm you up in these cold seasons, and I will be right back again for the rest of the recipes that I'm going to cook for Otto for the next 4 days. Ciao! Happy eating!